What is going on, Lunatic Fringe? Guys, there's a lot going on in cryptocurrency right now. And we are probably, let me just put it this way. You know what I hate the most is I go onto X and people are like, lock in, bros, because they heard somebody say one time that maybe you might be getting an altcoin season or something like that, right? And they tell you that every Sunday night, the moon guy, he tells you, lock in, it's altcoin season. And then you have the NFT girls telling you, what if it's altcoin season right now and you don't even know it? And you have all these different people that are telling you to lock in. They have no idea whether or not it's altcoin season. And it drives me out of my mind. So my advice to you, lock in, bros, because it's about to become altcoin season. Do I know that for sure? Not even close. But should you lock in? No. But is it hilarious to say? Also no. Here we are. Anyway, guys, I'm going to give you some information, and we're going to talk about Terra Luna Classic, and hopefully you're going to get some value out of this, and maybe you'll just be a little bit more informed. If that's the case, great. If not, my bad. All right, guys, check it out. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in, too. Okay, before we get started, sign up, become a member of my channel. It's $4.99 a month. Here's the thing. Over the last couple of weeks, I gave you MYX, and I gave you MYX way over here, okay? It's up 170% on the day, still continuing to pump, down to 115 right now. But yesterday, and when you combine it over the last couple of days, where we gave you the entry point, which was over here, we're up 600%. So it was a nice little 6x for anybody who got in on it. Also yesterday, a couple days ago, we had this one kind of showing up on the radar. It's called XVM. It's Extensive Virtual Machine. It's on the XRP ledger, but it runs on Solana, which was an interesting and intriguing sort of thing. Currently sitting at a 50 million market cap. This one has changed a bunch of lives very, very quickly and very, very rapidly. And it is about to, in my opinion, go so much higher. There's some crazy stuff going on. Should be an announcement, a big announcement today. Don't take that as the gospel, but if you got in, made yourself some nice. Louisville won this weekend. Did you win? FSU, big blowout. Did you win? Green Bay Packers beat the Detroit Lions. Did you win? TerraCasino.io is your place to go for all your risk-based gaming and sports wagering needs. So sign up today. And if you have a username, put it in my live streams because we give away $50 when you do that. And if you're trading meme coins or utility coins on the Terra Luna Classic blockchain, Terraport.finance is the place to go for you. They're one of the top burners in the ecosystem, and they are a partner of this channel and one of the only places that you can get the Believe crypto. Okay, guys, to refresh you, we had this big list of everything that's going on right now. So we've got a couple during the course of this week. In the next 7 days, it's going to be 2 different panels that I will be on talking about Terra Luna Classic. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack. And it is important that we grow, obviously. And I know you guys know that. But it's also important that we kind of come together, figure out where we're going, and then from there, start to attract more investors. That's it. That's all that matters. We build, they will come. We have to build the right things. Juris Protocol, closer to launch. Selenium, closer to launch. These are the things that are going to raise money. Those are pure money drivers. So things like that, very important to have. They are getting very, very close to being active and available right now. So we're going to need to burn a lot. We're going to need to get the market module up and running. There's a lot going on, a lot to unpack. Make sure that you're tuning in. As soon as I have the dates confirmed, everything, then we'll be sharing them with you. Okay, now for some of you, you came across this article on Binance in the last 24 hours. The Terra Luna Classic community is indeed awaiting a significant token burn following a court order in the SEC case against Terraform Labs, okay? Token burn details the exact amount is 1 billion USTC and 275 billion LUNC. That already happened, okay? So I'm not sure where these are coming from, but here's the thing. That's speculative. What's not speculative is the previous burns, which were 251 billion from Terra Luna Classic and 264 million from USTC. So now the question is, where did these numbers come from? Because when you go to, say, LUNC Dash over here, and you start looking at the top holders, you really don't see what they're talking about. Okay. And it could be that there's something that's not labeled. Now, the problem with this is I'm pretty sure that all of this has already been done. I don't really think that there's too much, but in the event that there is, and we were to burn 1 billion USTC and 275 billion Luna Classic, this ecosystem, in my mind, would go absolutely nanners. I think everything would go potentially just crazy. The impact would be enormous, but I'm not sure that this is accurate. So I'm going to keep track of this, but I'm going to sort of watch this with bated breath because, look, here's the important thing, okay? Don't know where any of these numbers come from. Again, you have to really come over here and you have to really start going down the list and looking at the wallets, and you tell me where you find a spot where you see that sort of gigantic transaction. The one that we have, Terraform Labs, we do know that they still maintain 290 million TFL. USTC with the TFL wallet that have never been burned. So when you start to break some of this down, I mean, maybe, but we need to see the end of that lawsuit. And by the way, it could show up before Kwon in January of 2026 goes on trial. Now, the other thing is, I've told you before, I think that Kwon might just get a pardon by the end of this, or charges might get dropped from the U.S. From the USTC. Now, the problem with that is that it's the Southern District of New York that's prosecuting him for these quote unquote crimes. And by the way, we should at least acknowledge he's guilty. Okay, he did and admitted guilt to exactly what it is that they claimed. Now, we can dress it up, put lipstick on that pig as much as possible, but at the end of the day, he pled guilty to manipulating you. Now, did he steal a bunch of money and did he wreck everybody and stuff like that? Well, that's going to be a little bit more complicated than that because he already gave himself a bunch of tokens. He's authorized to sell the tokens if he wants to. It's the removal of the liquidity from UST to buy Bitcoin from Jump Crypto Trading and them then dumping the USTC to try to destroy the project. It's all of those things that went into it, and how complicit was he in that? And of course, I don't think that he wrecked his own project. I really do not. However, I don't think he did it because he wanted to. I think he did it because he thought that he was fixing something that was obviously and clearly broken, which is why he's going through this, because in 2021, he manipulated you and told you that the algorithm worked, but he had hired somebody to buy the crypto, to buy the USTC to keep that peg, and that was Jump Crypto Trading. And then a year later, Jump Crypto Trading then dumped all of their money and broke the system. So there's some culpability and accountability that he's going to have for this, because he deceived you, and that allowed them the opportunity by deception to do what they did. Had they not done that, when you go back and look at the charts, the exponential push that we got over that last year from 2021 to 2022 was just absolutely enormous. That would not have happened. And if that had not happened, we wouldn't be where we ended up, and all of it wouldn't have come crashing down like a house of cards. So we'll see what happens there, but it's very, very interesting whether or not, I don't know how you feel. Let me know how you feel, by the way, in the comments down below about Kwon. To me, he's definitely guilty, but also I don't think that he was malicious in his intent, if that makes sense. There's a question of math up right now on Commonwealth, so you can go check that out. That's No 13. To me, fixing USTC LUNC, and he gives kind of an idea here. There are many problems in this, all of these things, where he's giving an idea of what he thinks should be happening. So go over there and read that, decide for yourself whether or not that's worthy and valuable. And it really is just kind of a discussion here. Wait for the burns and reduce the supply, which is impossible in my opinion. Create a new token and start over again, which I think is impossible again because Terra is not USTC, but is the ecosystem behind it. Or reroute the debt from USTC and SDT. It's the heart of the Terra. Reroute the debt. Look, in order to repeg, we have to have the amount of money for people to cash out at $1, and that's what the debt is. So just for everybody to understand right now, we're at basically a penny. So basically everybody's down 99% on USTC, formerly called Terra. And basically what he's saying is to reroute that debt in some way. I'm not sure that there's a path forward in this regard. I really don't. So to me, in my opinion, and for anybody who's asked me privately, I've told you, I don't think there's any reason to hold USTC other than a speculative pump, and I don't think that anything like this is going to fix it and or change it. If we burn 1 billion tokens and they're right, then we've reduced the supply by a significant portion, and we'll get a pump out of it. But that's still a speculative thing. Getting it back to $1 or redefining it as a stable, I just don't think that there is a path forward right now for that. It has to be a massive reduction in supply. Again, if we burn 1 billion, that's just the start of a much bigger problem. Just to give you the math on it right now, 5.39 billion is the circulating supply, but the market cap is only 75 million, which means that for it to be $1, we only need 75 million UST, currently USTC. But I just don't see a path forward. At best, we burn some of those, and that's a 20% decline, which would be a 20% increase in the price action, with all things being equal. So 20% of 1342 puts you at around 1.6 cents. That's negligible. Like I don't think that that's going to be the massive move right now that anybody thinks that it's going to be. Still going to be 4 billion tokens, 4.4 billion at that point in the circulating supply. Now, if somebody came up and said, hey, we can burn 3 billion, it's going to be way more significant, but still 2.4 billion tokens in circulation. So even with gigantic numbers being burned, there's no path forward for $1. There's just no path forward right now for that dollar. No way, no how. I say let this sleeping dog lie for the moment and just get the market module up and operational, and let's see if we can start some sort of effective burn in the event that these things happen, and in the event that USTD becomes that stable coin, because we're going to have a discussion about that in the next couple days. Maybe, just maybe, we can bring USTC back to some form of life, because having one stable coin certainly not going to be enough in this new world. Remember, the United States is now, we have the Genius Act. So we've got the Stable Genius Act. And that's going to change fundamentally the way stable coins are issued, the way that they are used, and everything that goes along with it. So you can't have too many stable coins in every blockchain and ecosystem. So USTC has a revival opportunity, but it would take something like USTD to come along, and maybe even USDC growing in this ecosystem, which we've seen. So right now, again, USTC purely speculative for me. Now, as far as memes and everything and utilities, LUNC, we saw the pump on that one the other day. MBA also, again, had a nice little run over here. Profit taking going on right now. But again, over the last couple of days, then we're starting to see that weighing down of price. Juris up 10%, but Garuda down 5%. So, and by the way, these are LUNC pairings or USTC pairings. So there's, we're not talking about massive, we're not talking about massive moves at all. And I'm going to show you on the chart what I'm talking about there. And look, we've been talking about that chart for a long time, and I keep telling you that something is going to happen. I'm going to show you where we are in altcoin season, as a matter of fact, because if we get into altcoin season, that's when we're going to see the explosive move. Okay. Validators, no real update in the validators, no real gigantic update. Just we got a few million moving around here and there. So nothing gigantic. Again, Greenpeace moved up to number 15. Okay. So let's talk chart action. Okay. First of all, altcoin season. It's not altcoin season, but we're heating up. It's at 59 right now. Here's the dynamic though. The last time we hit altcoin season, 272 days ago. Now, what happened when we hit altcoin season 272 days ago? Well, let's take this and let's go back here to 272 days. Look how high we're up here. There we are. 272 days ago, this is where we were. The hype machine. Everything was running and it was going absolutely nanners. And that's where we get our massive breakout. Okay, so what we're relying on right now is altcoin season. We're at 59. Altcoin season, for those that don't know, is when this ratio goes over 75. And what we're looking at, by the way, Bitcoin dominance is the big predicator on whether or not that's happening. And you saw that reversal that we had the last couple days. I'm still going to tell you that I think Bitcoin has to rally one more time. But look at the way it's starting to break down the last couple days. And what you're seeing right now is you're seeing Bitcoin sort of ranging right here. But you're seeing Ethereum popping just a tiny bit, Solana popping even more, XRP popping even more. You're starting to see even a recovery on OM coming up to about 22 cents overnight. And as you start breaking down the list here, you're going to start finding little runners breaking out. You've got Ether breaking out 12%. You've got MYX, which we just talked about, breaking out 600% over the last couple of days. You're seeing it start to happen. You're starting to see all of these big moves. Now, in that regard, that does mean that we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer. So what I expect to see is I expect to see a massive breakout for Bitcoin very, very shortly, because that's where the liquidity comes from. Then I'm going to see a massive sell-off on Bitcoin. Then we're going to see a massive move from Ethereum. And once Ethereum moves big, everything else is going to move big. Now, let's apply that to Terra Luna Classic. Right now, we're trading at 406, which is only up 1%. But what I told you was going to happen is happening as we speak. What we're doing is we're breaking out towards the top of this range, probably kicking in at about 62. Then the question becomes, do we break above or do we break below? So what we're looking at is we're looking at a break right here, getting a little bounce back off of it, because that's where the profit taking is going to be. And then we need that move back in here to establish that this is what's going on. Now, if you remember my thesis, ultimately, we're coming down and we're going to feel that. Now, there are a lot of indicators right now that are telling all markets that we're going to dump, all right? So when you're looking at Bitcoin right now, we were above the 50 MA for a while, but you'll notice here we rejected off the 50 MA, bearish. We're coming back up for another test, but the 50 MA is coming back down. What we're looking at right now is if it ranges for any length of time, we're looking at a death cross playing out pretty soon, okay? Now, how quickly that happens would be based on what the price is doing right now. And again, I think the price is going to continue to come down. So I think that that means that we're going to see this move. We're going to see a quicker move like this happening. And then that death cross could happen this month. It would be insane to see it happen, but it could happen. Also, the last time we got that death cross, let's be fair here. When last time we got the death cross, we got a huge dump, right? So this is where it gets interesting in this market, because in the event that we get that death cross, then that's going to mean that we've got this massive dump, right? So where does that massive dump go? Well, that massive dump comes down into that 90 to 95,000 range right there. We're going to see that sort of move right there. Now, in the event that we see that, let's also zoom back out. And the last time that happened and touched this line, we hit another all-time high at 124,277. And it only took, what is this, April to August. So May, June, July, August, 4 months. In 4 months, we go from a huge top, by the way, at what 75,000 all the way up to 124. Huge move right there. So, and by the way, just for full disclosure and full clarity's sake, I want you guys to understand something about the crypto market in the event that for any reason you don't understand something about the crypto market. And it's going to be very, very simple here, and you're not going to like it. They hate you, okay? They despise you. It sickens them that you have money, okay? The job of these institutional market makers is to take your money. No other purpose. Take your money. You win by buying low and selling high. They know that. They are working against you. Right now, we've gone bearish, and if it continues to go bearish, then what we're not going to see, I mean, we're down about 10%. That's not enough to create despair. The only way that their process works is to create doubt and fear, FUD, in this market. When that happens, that's when you get these generational dips that end up becoming these explosive moves. Now, the good part about it is we are tracking these, okay? Now, they're tracking it too, but they don't know that we know some of the secret sauce, and they don't know that we know some of the secret details, or they don't really care. What they care about is the average person. Now, you're watching me, and I'm telling you that 90 to 95,000 is where I think it's going to go. But also, once we get to that range, that's when we're going to see this next gigantic surge. And that's where we get that crazy move. Now, we could also just see a crazy spike like this and then a big move, I mean, immediately happening. That's also possible. But again, for the thesis to play out, we need more blood in the streets, because this is not enough. What's happening right now is going to be generational wealth for a lot of not institutions, Okay, they're not going to tolerate that. And I hope you understand that before you get too deep into it. Now, there's going to be pops, there's going to be, incredible runs. I'm in a couple of them right now that are really doing good. But again, until we see Bitcoin absolutely break out, then we're not going to have that. And also, by the way, I could invalidate this thesis entirely with some really, really good news that sends us way up here, and we could just continue the rally. If we were to continue the rally the way we are right now, then you have to start zooming out and looking at it on maybe a weekly chart or something like that and saying, where can we go from here? Okay. Now, when we look at it from this context, let's do a Fibonacci real quick. We're not even close to where we should be going. I mean, if you're talking about where we should be going, 0.45 is your best estimate. Okay. 0.5, 0.618 in this range right here is what we're looking for as a dip. And guess what happens to be right in that range? Right there. This is the area that we want to get into for, again, that generational rip. But maybe, just like this one that continued higher, we're doing an Elliott wave and we're about to go even higher before we correct. Then, if we correct, it will change fundamentally what we're talking about here, because then we go up, let's say we go up to 135,000, right? We go up to 135,000. Well, then this level right here, this 108,000 that we've been talking about as an important level, guess what? That becomes even more important because that's where the dip starts. That's where we end up on this dip here because it changes fundamentally, and then boom, 108, 109,000. But it takes that move first, and I don't know that we're going to get that. So where does that leave Luna Classic? Well, that leaves us kind of range bound for now. So, and by the way, we could see a breakout at any moment. I'm not saying that we won't or can't, all right? But, we've had our burn. We're not burning very much right now, by the way, only burning 9 million for the day, 15 million yesterday, 32 million the day before, 13 million, all the big numbers starting to roll back off, So we're going to be burning very, very little when it comes down to it. So again, I'm looking for a break towards that upside, but I'm not looking for it to be sustained. I'm looking for a move back down here. I'm looking for max fear to come into play, because max fear is how you get max gains. And we're going to play that market the right way. And if we play it the right way, then guess what? Ton of money to be made from Terra Luna Classic. And we will get that generational pump and that nice little, what I said before, about a 40x from where we are. So I think that that's what's in the cards right now. My final in the bull market move is 2027. I'm sticking with that for right now. Might come down, by the way. It certainly does. In my mind, I don't see any reason for it to go up, because that's a 12 billion market cap at current supply and levels. And I think that that is absolutely incredible as a move. So I don't see it going any higher than that. There's no way in my mind it goes higher than that. So again, 2027 is my move. That's a 40x. Hopefully it plays out that way. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I know this one got a little bit long today, but I had a lot to say. It's not financial advice, but I'm always right.